2025. Let's see, who's absent today? Commissioner Jim Franklin is absent today, and Commissioner Brian Payne is also absent today. Commissioner Buzz Artiano is appearing virtually. Now I'm going to open the meeting, take a roll call. Dot?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
And Marilyn?
Yes.
And I'm Colleen, I'm here as well. Please note that we're doing a hybrid meeting.
Buzz.
And Buzz?
Yeah, you skipped over me.
Yeah, I did. You get that big cross there. Okay. And as an additional announcement before we start, the Kingston Open Space Committee is still seeking a new member. The committee assists conservation in overseeing the management and use of conservation properties to help all of us better access and utilize these resources in a positive way. This is an opportunity for a resident to assist in implementing the town's open space plan, help improve parking and trails, and identifying future conservation and passive recreation priorities for the town and other benefits. You may inquire by calling the Conservation Department at 781-585-0537 or by emailing Juliana Denham at kingstonma.gov. That's JDENUM@KINGSTONMA.gov.
Jim just entered the Zoom.
Oh, thank you very much. Hi, Jim. Have we signed all the documents?
I did, yes.
Yep, we had an invoice from Bonomi Welding, We Print Today, WB Mason, certificate of compliance for the Eversource Carver to Kingston Reliability Project, and orders of conditions for 105 Monks Hill Road and 2 Braintree Avenue.
Okay. So we're going to move on to action items. Is the first action item the request for certificate of compliance for 18 Old Mill Road?
Yep.
All right. Let me just find it here. So we're reopening a hearing on that?
Meeting.
Okay. All right, it's inconsistent with my notes, but, all right. So, is there a representative from is there a representative here?
Nope.
Is that you?
There is not.
Do you have any comments, Matt?
Yeah, this is one that was filed months ago, and before we scheduled a site visit, the representative told me that they had realized that one of the orders of conditions had not been followed completely during construction, and they were going to be hiring a contractor to complete the work appropriately and then get back in touch with us, and requested continuance, and then requested continuance again, and at this point they didn't provide any information on your information there, just because I thought we could kind of deal with this at once. It should just be stated that what you're voting on is both of those requests.
So in other words, the denial applies to both?
Correct.
To both requests, and,
I'll accept that amendment to my motion.
yeah. All right, I'm going to open a public meeting. We're going to discuss the request for determination of applicability for 19 Pine Hill Road. This is for construction of an addition to a single-family house within jurisdiction. Is there a representative here?
Yes.
Would you like to come up, identify yourself for the record, and if you have any comments, feel free to make them.
Good evening, Fred Smith, 31 Larkspur Lane, Plymouth, formerly of Kingston. It's nice to be here, and honorable board members, thank you for your time. Matt, especially thank you for your time this morning for the site visit. I am proposing in earnest the addition as described. It's your judgment, of course. I don't feel is encroaching anymore on the sensitive area than what has already been constructed. That's my basic stand, but I'm here to take advice, meet your requests, and hopefully go on about the project.
Matt, do you have any comments?
Yeah, and I just realized I don't know that I had this digital at all, the plan, so I can't pop the plan up on the,
You did not.
on the screen. I have hard copies here for everybody if anybody wants to look at them now, but I don't have them available for Buzz and Jim to look at.
Should be good.
But what I can do is pull up the photos from the site today. So this is an application for an addition to a single-family house in the periphery of jurisdiction in the 100-foot buffer zone to a cranberry bog, which for these purposes may technically be either a bog or a BVW. Property was legally developed in 2005 through an NOI and orders of conditions. COC was issued in 2007. House doesn't necessarily appear built exactly to what the plan was, but that portion is out of jurisdiction. Most of the property is out of jurisdiction. Deck was not built exactly to plan either, but again, with negligible effects as far as the 2006 plan of record. So bottom line, COC was issued, property was legally developed. Not perfect, but probably good enough. Appears to be minimal impervious surface within jurisdiction. The proposal, it's a minimal increase. There's only a small portion of the addition that's within jurisdiction. The proposed structure is well outside of the 50-foot no structure setback in KWPR. Proposal appears to meet all the standards of WPA and KWPR. Couple notes, wetlands were not delineated. It says on the plan that they were taken from the record plan, probably back in 2006. Boundary is unlikely to have changed. It's a active farmed cranberry bog edge, so they're typically pretty bound to topography and pretty easily checked off aerial imagery. I did take some quick measurements off Axis GIS, and it appeared to support what's shown in the plan as far as what the setbacks are. Approximate tree line on the plan appears accurate, but there also appears to be an unmarked delineation between established maintained lawn and a natural area to the west. There's a line that extends from the area of the shed to Pine Hill Road. Proposal calls for no clearing of natural vegetation. It's all going to occur on the lawn area. Pretty much what's shown right now on the screen, that's the, I believe, western side of the house. That would be the side of the house that would have the addition put onto it. The wetlands are off to the back behind that row of pine trees. There is a shed of questionable legal origin. It's been in place since at least May 2010 between the limit of work and the wetlands. It is outside of the 50-foot no structure setback, but it's unlikely to have ever been permitted. And then just from the site visit today, I noticed up against that tree line, so there's the shed up against the tree line, which is still outside of the 50-foot from the cranberry bog. That's looking towards the cranberry bogs from the row of trees. You can see the dirt bog road in between this property and the bog. And that is another likely unpermitted area. There's just a patio up against the tree line. Looks like roughly maybe 10 feet by 10 feet, so about 100 square feet of impervious surface. So one of my thoughts on this was that if you're permitting a addition to the house, it may make sense to also be permitting the shed and the patio there. You may want impervious surface numbers on that, but I suspect that they're all still well beneath 15%. So, like I said, Proposed structure is well outside of the 50-foot no structure. Everything appears to meet the standards of WPA and KWPR. There's just the matter of unpermitted previous work. Commission could issue a -3 DOA or continue the meeting and ask for more information, such as maybe impervious surface numbers, something along that line. But the applicant should add the shed and the patio to this filing, as neither one of them were likely permitted. And I think both would be permittable. That's what I got.
Comments from the commission?
And I could pull up the aerial imagery of the property right now, if that would be helpful to Jim and Buzz.
Would you like that, Jim? Buzz?
We always like pretty pictures.
All right.
Smile.
Just give me a second, I'll pull up the town GIS. Any questions while I'm doing that?
Do you know what the patio area, was it pavers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on, easy. Okay, there we go. So here's the house right here. This is sort of that delineation line I was talking about, between managed lawn, between the shed and the street. This area here is the managed lawn. This over here is natural vegetation. There's the shed. I'm not sure that you can see the patio. Oh, there, it does show up there. Yeah, on the 2021, this is the patio area here, roughly 10 by 10. Here's your wetlands here, the cranberry bog, then there's the bog road in between, row of trees. So the addition runs on this side of the house right here. And it looks like it's about roughly 40 feet long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, with that little L, it nets out to 48.
48 in the back, 40 in the
Correct.
front.
Correct.
All right, so I can.
What's the addition for?
The homeowner's mother moving out from Ohio. Okay.
Got it.
So you're at about, let's say about roughly there. That's your footprint on the addition. With that, you have to move the propane
Propane
tank.
tank.
There is a propane tank buried currently where the addition would go. It is outside of jurisdiction and would stay out of jurisdiction. So
Yes.
they'd be moving the propane tank closer to the road. Propane tank is not currently in jurisdiction. And only a corner of this, area, like over here, is actually within the 100-foot buffer. So only a small portion of this addition would be
And this-
jurisdictional.
And this has a full foundation?
He's in the
Oh,
speakers.
yes.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Okay.
Kalina?
I mean, I like it seems pretty straightforward. That's a very delineated wetland line, if you will, edge of a bank of a bog. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You've got a road with, equipment traversing on it. I wouldn't consider that obviously it's a wetland and it's a buffer line, but it's not a pristine forested area between him and the bog area. I agree, pick up the shed and the patio now and get it on a plan of record. I'm assuming we could just make that part of the order conditions when that they do the foundation as built, that they have to pick those up and show those at the same time, so they don't have to bring out a separate survey crew. They could pick up the shed and the patio at the same time. That's my 2 cents.
Jim, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I had a question. As far as the addition's concerned, is anything changing on the septic, or is this septic, or is it sewer? Do we have to contemplate any upgrade to sewer septic design, that might complicate this a little bit further?
If that was a question, there is no current concern for an upgrade. It was built for a 5-bedroom, and currently it's recorded as, or assessed as a 3-bedroom, and that indeed is what it is. So it should be well accommodating any proposed bedroom.
Okay, I'll just piggyback on what Buzz says. I don't see any real issue with this, as long as there's no changes to the septic.
Any other questions from the commission?
I have no questions.
Any questions from members, public here or online? All right, are we ready for a motion? Do I hear a motion?
And Kalina, just to piggyback on what Buzz was saying, that could be easily added as a special condition, just that the shed and patio are on the
At both of
as-built
them.
before it's cleared.
Right.
Just categorically put them on, unknowing, I don't know whether they were permitted, just do it post facto. Fine.
Yeah, and again, the purpose of that is to establish what's on the ground now, so that later on, if other mysterious sheds show up, we can say, hey, that wasn't there.
Right.
Understood. Need that be need that be surveyed, or just?
Yeah, you're gonna have to have a surveyor out to do an as-built of that foundation anyways, so I would ask that that just be included.
Okay.
On the surveyed as-built plan, showing the exact location of both of those, the patio and the shed, and showing their dimensions.
Very well.
All right.
So this is an NOI or an RDA?
No, this is
A -3?
this is an RDA, so that we'd be issuing a DOA, but we could issue a DOA with the special condition that we need to see the as-built, and that the as-built should show the
Yep.
shed and patio. The alternative is just to have the plan that was just submitted to us updated before we issue the permit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's straightforward enough. My 2 cents. So in RDA, we just close the hearing and then we go right to a vote, or we go with a vote without closing the hearing? I don't remember.
There's not even a hearing.
It's just a,
meeting.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the RDA with the conditions that the existing shed and existing patio is clearly shown on the as-built plan of the addition with all dimensions and locations and properly located on the lot in relation to the lot boundaries prior to issuance of do we issue a certificate of compliance on these or not?
Nope. There's almost no follow-up on DOAs.
That's scary.
Yep.
I'm gonna withdraw my motion. Yeah, I'm gonna request the applicant bring in a plan that shows the location of the existing shed and the patio prior to issuing an RDA. And it needs to be done by a surveyor and stamped.
So the way that could work then is,
I hate to spend their money, but where we don't have any way to follow up, we gotta do it the hard way.
so essentially the way that could work is the commission could vote on issuing the DOA tonight with that caveat. And
Okay.
I prep the permit for the next meeting, which isn't until May 14th. Theoretically, I could get 4 signatures on that in advance of that to expedite the process for them, but we would not actually put the permit in their hand until we get the updated plan with,
Okay.
I think the shed is already on the plan.
Yes.
Correct.
Whether it was
So it's
permitted,
just-
that's the question.
It's just adding the
Yeah,
patio to it.
Yeah, I moved on. So if it's just a patio, so the shed's on the plan.
There's no dimensions of the shed.
Well, I'm gonna go backwards again. I'm gonna make my motion again. So I'm gonna make a motion to approve the RDA with the stipulation that the patio is located on the plan.
Physically stake out the patio, I would have never frankly thought that that was an issue. But if it's a matter of percentage of property impermeable, I understand.
Nah, it's more not the impermeable, it's more, we just wanna document what's there today, because things have a way of creeping up on properties over the years, and if we don't have a plan of record on the file, then it's difficult for us to be enforcing people.
Well, with due respect, and I'm being asked a question, is it a hardship? Sure, I'll say it's a hardship, but I will approach the engineers tomorrow and ask respectfully if they can get out right away, and if they could please enter it onto the plan within a week or so.
Yeah, they should be able to pull that from the existing foundation. They should just be able to pull that with tape measures and do offset. So,
With the tape
my
measure?
motion stands. There is a second.
All right. We have a motion on the record and a second. I'm going to take a vote. Dot?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes,
Megan?
Yes.
Cletus, yes. Buzz?
Yes.
And Marilyn?
Yes.
Well, that's unanimous. All right then.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
I will do my due diligence, get Webby out there, hopefully within a week.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Harrison.
My pleasure. Have a nice evening.
Thank
You
you.
too. Do we want to open the hearing, will we? So I'm going to move. And is that section A, 18 open? Yeah, okay. All right, because of the time, which is 5 minutes of 7, I'm going to open a meeting for 18 Old Orchard Lane. This is a notice for hearing. And this is a notice of intent for the proposed demolition and rebuilding of a single-family house and moving of a shed within the buffer zones to coastal and inland resource areas. Do you have any comments, Matt?
So, Commission, I believe, received everything that they asked for at the last meeting. I said they'd like to see. Let me just share my screen. So, this is the updated mitigation plan. So now, instead of just having it over here, it is now down in this downslope area for better protection of the resource areas. We do have conservation posts indicated on the plan. And I reached out to the water department to ask about plantings on the water main, and they requested that plantings stay 5 feet away from the actual water main itself. So that is also shown on the plan. Then we have the updated plan now. Only issue that I did not bring up on the last hearing is conservation restriction post detail. This is the old style, depth of 3 feet, 1 feet above. We don't do that, everything's 2 and 2. So I sort of put down as a special condition that it should show 2 feet and above ground. That could either be changed on this at the commission's request, or we can just put that in the special conditions. I had to do that on a recent permit that we issued anyways. That's just the standard that we do. Other changes were the detail was put on the shed, stating that the shed would be moved by hand, which is, we did that over here. It's blurry for some reason. There we go. Existing shed to be removed or dismantled by hand. So I believe that's all. We did receive the variance request, so that's all set. And yeah, so I think at this point, he has provided all the information that the commission either requested or suggested, and I believe now everything meets KWPR and WPA. I'd recommend closing the hearing and issuing OOCs approving the project with special conditions We can run through the list of special conditions again. I know we discussed a lot of that last week.
Would it be helpful, just for the record?
Yeah, we
Articulate them?
definitely, we definitely need to hear the special conditions again.
Conservation posts in perpetuity, also, like I just mentioned, 2 feet above ground, 2 feet below. Detailed allowance for maintenance of the mitigation area. Proposed additional stockpile of silt sock should be reviewed as part of the pre-work ESC check. Any dumpster use must be covered. The usual outdoor chemicals and fertilizers blurb, plus from the last meeting, it was discussed, no fertilizers in mitigation area, and I believe no fertilizer within 50 feet of a resource area. That was what was discussed last week, I believe, by Marilyn. And language regarding not confirming the stream type, that was discussed at the last meeting. And the last thing that I know we discussed at the last meeting, but we didn't discuss as a condition, was requiring removal of the yard waste and whether that would be before construction.
Anything else from the commission on that? Anything from you, Mr. Guidoboni?
No, I want to thank Matt for providing the format of the variance request. He was very helpful to give me the detail to make that easier to write, and it's, thank you.
And any comments from the public present or online? All right, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to close the hearing?
Second.
Do we want to condition that to the,
Just gonna close, then we're gonna vote it.
no, motion to close the hearing, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a second on that. Dot,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Kalina's yes, Buzz,
Yes.
Marilyn, okay, the hearing's
Yes.
closed. Now, do I hear a motion to,
So I make the
Approve the-
motion to approve the project with the aforementioned special conditions.
okay. We have a second on that?
Second.
We have a motion to approve the project and issue order of conditions. It's been seconded. Dot,
Yes.
Jim?
Jim's a yes, but just real quick, Matt, I'm gonna need one of those sign-off sheets for missing the meeting but reviewed, the online footage. So could you just make a note of that?
Correct. Mullen rule form for Jim will be on record.
Okay, great. Megan?
Yes.
Kalina's a yes. Buzz?
Yes.
And Marilyn?
Yes.
And the Mullen Rule, we all know what that is? All
Yeah.
right. Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, have a good night.
We're gonna,
All right.
I'm gonna run and blow my nose real quick. I'm sniffling over here.
We all good? Are we moving on to the John Howland?
Yes.
I will now open a public meeting to discuss the request for determination of applicability for map 48, lot 16, on Howlands Lane. This is filed by the Pilgrim John Howland Society. Matt, do you have any comments?
Yep, so at the last meeting, and I'm just sharing my screen again, at the last meeting, it was discussed that it may be difficult to issue the permit, given landscape work happening within the 30-foot. So they did provide an update to that plan, removing landscape activities from the 30-foot buffer. So that's what we have now on the screen for the most recent update from March. Confused, I think it was March 29th, the update. Either way, now we have the update here. Nothing happening within the 30-foot buffer, so now we have nothing that violates any standards of KWPR.
Yeah, March 26th.
And at this point, I recommend the commission issue a -3 determination of applicability, as the applicant has now shown a proposal that aligns with the performance standards of WPA and KWPR.
Do you have anything to say? Are you both the applicants? You want to come up? Do you have any comments to make? Thanks. Just say your name for the record.
My name is Peter Aronstam, Executive Director of the Pilgrim John Howland Society. And as Matt mentioned, we modified our plan to stay away from the buffer zone, keep all the, any work or modifications out of that area. And the plan will still work for us. And I didn't follow what Eldon, you were asking about the brush.
Yes, we just use mechanical cutters for the brush. It wouldn't be any chemical.
Do I need to repeat that?
Reiterate that for the record.
Sure. As part of the,
Notes.
it's in the notes in the plan, but part of the process will be using mechanical means to remove some of the brush,
Okay,
the underbrush.
all right.
It does also, I see an added note saying, plastic coverings will not be used in future archaeology digs, and any visible plastic material will be removed.
Yeah, we also talked about, in this project, any plastic that comes to light will remove. And then down, as we move forward with other projects, any remaining plastic will be removed from the ground. I will note, I've talked to other archaeologists, that's still a pretty standard
It still is.
procedure.
Okay.
Because I asked, if there was some alternative that we could use, and it's tricky. It has to be something that stays in the ground, doesn't dissolve, et cetera, et cetera.
Are there any comments from commissioners on this? Any comments from the public online? Can I hear a motion? That would be an emotion to approve the request and issue the -3 determination of applicability.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, great, a second. We have a motion and it's seconded. Let's take a vote. Dot?
Yeah.
And Jim?
Yes.
And Megan?
Yes.
Kalina's a yes. Buzz?
Yes,
Marilyn?
Yes.
Passes. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you.
I should have that permit for you in a couple weeks. On that note, I may ask commissioners to sign documents sometime before the April vacation week, just to try to get things out to people without having to wait for the May 14th meeting.
So just come in ad hoc signing.
Yeah, either that or I can drive around town and find everybody, one way or the other.
We'll have to vote on what's more convenient for the commission. So we're going to move on to the, and have a good, nice evening, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you. So we're going to open a public meeting and to discuss the request for amendment or deviation for 126 and 131 to 137 Ring Road. This was submitted by Beals and Thomas on behalf of Ring Road Solar LLC, and for the record, the filing number of that is number SE 037-088. 089 and 0890. Do you have any comments? Matt?
No, this was the thing where they were gonna go check with the state electrical inspector. I checked before our last meeting and was told that they didn't have an update yet. I did not receive anything and didn't reach out to ask for anything for this meeting. I wasn't sure if they'd be here or not tonight. I know their lawyer reached out to town council to inquire if he was interested in getting involved in
Oh, really?
one way or another. And I assume they're just still trying to figure everything out. So I think continuance to May 14th, and if it continues to kind of get kicked down the road, I can let them know that they may be in danger of having it denied for lack of information.
Okay. Do I have a motion to continue to May 14?
I'll make the motion.
Any second?
Second.
Have a motion's been seconded to continue this matter to May 14th. Dot?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Felina's a yes. Buzz?
Yes,
Marilyn?
Yes.
All right, that's,
May I ask a question regarding that continuance? Will we be expecting input from our town council?
No, not unless you ask for it.
Well, they asked for it. I didn't think it was up to them to ask for it, but,
Not uncommon for lawyers to reach out, but his response was, he CC'd me on the response and said, I haven't been asked by the commission to
right,
weigh in.
exactly. We haven't
So,
asked them.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
so with that added into the record before we take a vote on this, all right? Shall we take another vote?
No, it was just an informational thing.
Okay, just a comment. All right, well, it's been unanimous to continue to May 14th. Is there anything else? Any enforcements? No?
There's nothing else except for when the next meeting is and adjourning. A 40-minute meeting.
When's the next meeting?
God bless us, everyone.
What'd you say, May 14th?
All right, the next meeting will be held on May 14th, 2025, starting at 6:30 PM. The time is now 7:11. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Dot?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Felina's a yes. Buzz?
no.
I was gonna say that myself.
Noted.
It was too quick. I don't know what to do now.
I know. And Marilyn?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a majority, so the meeting is adjourned.